Welcome back, guys, to our podcast. This is the B Does Do Scale, the CEO Audit, and I'm back here with my co-host Coco. And today we're going to dive more into some of the questions that were raised from our previous episode. And without further ado, we're just going to jump into it. So, Michael, I'm just going to look into some of the questions that were raised by our listeners. So, one of our listeners actually raised a good question. They want to know about the mindset that the CEO needs in order to scale their business. What do you have anything that you can say to that?
Yeah, so that's a very important aspect, mindset. I just want to connect to our previous episodes. We touched about the strategy, we touched about the control disruption. So you're going to find that all of these, it's under the umbrella of mindset. Maybe let me define what is mindset. So mindset can be defined as a set of beliefs, attitudes, and assumptions that make up how a leader thinks and also how he responds to challenges. So you're going to find, as you've alluded before, that mindset is very important because it is the mindset that gives a leader an opportunity to balance between the risk and the experimentation. Because remember, control disruption, we say we must be deliberate. We want to change how things work in the organization. And we said that a CEO cannot go for 6 to 8 months without introducing a new product. But for a CEO to do that, there must be a very strong mindset. So that's why we are saying now we are connecting. If a CEO has a very strong mindset, it is easy for the business to scale because there's that room for experimentation. Above all, it must be supported by the systems and also by the team members in the organization. I want to give an example. In my book, Builders Who Scale, which is our theme, the book, I discussed and I said, I want to give an example of an organization. It's a hotel called Ritz-Carlton. So Ritz-Carlton, what they did, one of the best hotels, So what they did, they gave an opportunity to each and every employee. If an employee is trying to address a pain point or a challenge, and the total value of that challenge is not more than $2,000, which means $2,000 and below, an employee is given an opportunity to address without the feedback of the manager. So this is how a mindset is cascaded down to the employees. So when mindset is correct, it is very easy for a business to scale.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that answer. I'm just thinking about the mindset. Are there any ways that we can train those mindsets, or that's something that viewers can find in the book? Like how do I train my mindset to be control disrupted CEO?
Right. So yes. So it is important that each and every manager, leader, executive, they must have a strong mindset. Because number one, the organization is not operating in a vacuum. There are macro-external environment, there are geopolitical shifts, there is inflation, change in interest rates. All these, they affect the organization.
Yes.
So a leader should not wait for calmer environments to make a decision.
Okay.
So therefore, it is in those kind of decisions where the mindset, the fortitude, the mindset has to be improved. Because if you don't do that, volatility can reach at any time and attack organization. So in doing that, the organization can face some challenges, competitors. Actually, a good manager or best leader is a manager who has a strong mindset. How can you make that mindset strong? You have to experiment. But you have to experiment with your team members because you don't work in a vacuum. You have your subordinates, you have your employees, ability for them to fuse in, and not just you to develop a strong mindset, but them, because a company is made up of a team, not just a leader. So once you have the formidable team, you're going to find it's going to be very easy to scale a business.
Okay. So you did touch on creating new products and trying new things, but I feel like that would need someone who takes on risk. Is there anything that you want to talk about the risk aspect of being in the controlled?
Right. Yeah. So I want to give an example. You're going to find that in every organization, if there are more than 10, 15 employees, some of them already they have the knowledge of how to run things, but they don't have an opportunity. So you're going to find that companies or leaders can reduce risk. What they are just going to do is to pave a way, a guardrail, where the leaders or the employees are working, but they are within the framework. Because if we can manage risk today, we'll be in a position to even if equip some of our employees. I want to give an example from Microsoft. You know, Teams,
Yes.
yeah, that's used for meetings. I think it's a competitor of Zoom. Right. So that one, it was a product that was developed by employees inside the organization. Why?
Wow.
Because they were given the guardrails, the framework. And then from there, they operated. In other words, they took risk. There is no new product that can come out of an organization without risk.
Okay.
But the risk has to be managed within a certain framework, as I'm saying, within the certain guide rails, so that now it can be actualized. And now today, as we speak, so in other ways, there's what we call intrapreneurial, right? Intrapreneurial.
Okay.
So it's the
What is
opposite of entrepreneurial. So the opposite, okay, the definition maybe it could be you are having someone in the organization, maybe it could be a production manager, anyone in the organization, but he brings the entrepreneurial mind in the system of an organization. And as I told about mindset, now it needs a leader who is able to embrace the skills of these individuals, employees. Ability also to nurture them, ability to give them time to experiment.
Okay.
So in other ways, we are saying, set up someone, allow small failures
To happen within
the organization.
Okay.
And now these will guide as a learning opportunity. So by continuous improvement, which last time we discussed is soft innovation. Remember last time we discussed is control disruption is a twin called soft innovation. So this one sets a map. Soft innovation, it improves what is already implemented or what is already in the control disruption. How can we improve in that? So you're going to find that in that regard, today as we speak, Teams effective and it's working because certain leader allowed had to have a mindset to experiment, set some safety nets, and then allow entrepreneurs in the organization to experiment. And from that, as I told, we can have a number of them. Google and also the Google Maps we know, the Gmail that we know. So these are leaders who have turned their mindset, trusting the employees, the teams that they hired, and give them the safety net, and then the guardrails, and then from there we see development. Yeah.
So we have mindsets, and then we have risk. How we're managing the risk. I do feel like there's another aspect of it also. But you can have the mindset, you can go for the risk, but if there's no proper systems, if there are no proper structures, I feel like that might affect the success of the CEO. What are some of the systems and structures that are needed for the CEO to move the organization from point A to point B?
Yes, so as I alluded also in the previous episodes, is that systems, I want to equate this way. I normally want to give some examples so that people can correlate.
Yes.
Right.
I like examples.
Yes, I know you do.
I love examples.
I know. So systems are more like, let me give you an example as a cook, right? He needs recipe to come up with the food. And besides that, you need also a place where you can prepare your food. Even if, no matter regardless how good you are, when you have your recipe and you don't have a place to prepare that kind of food, we will not have good food.
Okay.
For us to say Monya is a good cook, it's because
We can
there's
find him at
recipe,
this place.
right? Number one. Number two, there's the infrastructure, which I'm giving it as my kitchen. So you have your kitchen as an infrastructure. And then you have your recipe as your system. So which means system and infrastructure, they work hand in hand.
Okay.
So maybe the question, like, as you have said, how can it allow a leader to scale his business? So when the systems, they are intact, the manager set some internal control systems, because remember, you must consistently watch and see if the system is driving the organization in a positive way. Or in other words, you're leveraging systems as a competitive advantage.
So these systems could actually, for example, track KPIs within the organization, how, like data, how they're performing.
The workflow,
The
you can
workflows.
also add the workflows. Yes, that's a good one, right? Add some workflows, etc. So all that, they will help to give a certain, they allow the infrastructure now, as in we are thinking of now people who support the system. As I've said, the recipe and the kitchen, once we have the recipe and we have the kitchen, the cook can prepare food and people can eat delicious food. So the same applies also to the systems, but the system must be backed up by infrastructure. The infrastructure now we're thinking about team players, employees, skilled people. So they're going to support the system so that there must be continuous improvement. There must be soft innovation, as we have alluded. We said it's a method of continuous. We try to improve because we have competitors. In business, always think of geopolitical shift. Think of any change, you must be prepared. What they call contingent planning.
Yeah.
Situational, right? It depends. The situation you're in, the good organization should always be moving. And remember, all these things, we want to increase our productivity. But we know if we increase our productivity, we're going to increase our profitability.
And the shareholders are happy.
And the shareholders are happy. I normally talk about the earnings per share. Shareholders, they're always waiting.
They're looking for
Earnings per share.
earnings per share.
Yeah, they're saying, I've invested a lot of money in this. I need return on investment. So all these now can be used, the system and infrastructure, so that the business can scale. I think that's what we have to do.
So yes, you've talked about the mindset, you've talked about the structure, the systems, and you've actually touched on the risk. But what happens if you don't have the talent? Like sometimes the CEO is all what he needs. He has everything, but he doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have people that are supporting him. What are some of the qualities that the CEO has to look for in building the team?
But so to answer that question, I think it goes back to human resources department.
Okay. Yes.
Department, right? Of course, eventually it will go back to the CEO if they have wrong time. Because it is the duty of CEO. CEO is the overall leader in an organization. If there is HR issues, CEO is to blame. Financial, any other department that's not operating at optimum level, the CEO is to blame.
Answerable, yes.
Is answering. So which means if a CEO cannot have good talent in the team, so remember there is human resources director and there are human resources executives, right? So when they are doing the strategy planning, it is the duty of the CEO to see that the HR executive is working so that you can build talent. But just to spice it up, in this modern age of, we have a lot of talent in the USA. We have a lot of colleges. We have, the bulk of them. So I don't see a problem or a challenge when organization will say, we don't have good talent. Maybe the question goes back to, you have hired people, you prepare JD, a job description. This is the kind of employee we want, and we want A, B, C, D, and then hiring managers that recruit people. I think the question is more about, you have talent, but the talent that you have, you are not giving them an opportunity to experiment.
Okay.
Remember the mindset. So if the CEO's mindset is like, I am the only one who is able to change things around and to do each and everything, you're going to find there will be standard growth.
Yes.
Reduce.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere where you were saying that if you want to go far, go with someone. But if you want to go fast, go alone. And sometimes fast is not far. You can go fast and then fail short in the near future. So sometimes you just need to have the right team for you to go far.
So you cannot achieve sustainability, because in everything in leadership, you look about operational plans short term, you're looking about strategic plans which are long term. So at the end of the day, so you must extract that mindset from people, because it is the responsibility of every CEO, of every leader, of every manager to extract the best talent in people. So once you extracted that one, give them platform, because there are people who can do even much better. Let me give you an example. If we are 3 people in the room, we bring more ideas. But if we become more like 10 people, more ideas. Because we see things at a different level and a different time. So once we pull in, and then what we're going to do as a CEO, as I've alluded before, give them an opportunity to express their ideas.
Creativity. Let them
Creativity. Allow them to experiment. Give some safety net. Once they do that, they're going to operate at a reasonable safety measures so that they don't go off board. Remember, we said experimentation is also a learning opportunity. So once we do that,
forward.
yes, so once we do that, we're going to find that at the end of the day, we will not have poor talent in the team. We have the talent. Organization is good talent, but it's about you as a CEO, the tone you're setting, the model that you are infusing and cascading down to employees. So if you don't execute that right, it will end up as if it's a bad culture or it's a bad team, but necessarily it's not the truth. The truth is the responsibility of a CEO, of a leader, of a manager over operations of a business. Because what we need is profitability. What we need is scalability and eventually growth and expansion of a business.
Okay. So by nurturing the talent also, would it be okay for the CEO to put in place structures for development of talent from his, like, let's say the top management, like they go for seminars where they develop the talent?
Yes. So what we actually say, the more I give example, like if there are 10 people, which means we can extract more talent.
Yes.
So if an organization is having more than 100 people, more opportunities, and we can extract more talents from the people because we have more people. So in doing that now, that's where, because remember, we are all educated, right? You're going to find that if a person is educated, when we bring them, we're going to do the induction training, where you tell you, Munya, you're going to do A, B, C, D to Z, right? So all these are things that, but you have also your idea
That you have.
You're working with your boss, but you realize, okay, what we are doing right now, I think there is a better and improved method or process that we can put in practice. But just because you didn't have the authority to execute that idea, to put the idea in practice. So which means if you're not given an opportunity, you're not going to present that.
Okay.
So there should be an opportunity. There should be that leeway that allows employees to become part and parcel of the team. I talked about the experimentation. I talked about safety nets. I talked about the guardrails. Give them to employees. Within the same framework, you're going to find that you actually have a good talent, but it's because you've not extracted the best from them. And you want them to just work like robots, like machine. Take this thing, A, B, C, D. It becomes, the daily thing and the daily task, and it becomes monotonous, it becomes boring, it becomes, there is not that creativity. As human beings, we're different from animals and robots because we think, we process, we want to be involved, we want to be seen doing something, or to change and improve the model of the business.
You're actually touching on a very interesting topic. Like right now we have AI that's coming up. How can a CEO who's looking forward to scale their business capitalize on AI, at the same time make sure that his management team, his employees are well taken care of? Because I know there's a trade-off with AI and human labor, but at the same time the CEO wants to scale the business. So what's the trade-off? Like, are there any cost benefits? Are there any opportunity cost that comes with that? How can we find the sweet spots between AI and then human resource?
Yeah, that's very true. I think what you've just said, organizations right now as we speak, big organizations are in this, if I say challenge, it can be a pain point.
Yeah.
Because number
it's a turning point. I was.
Yeah. So number one, they want to extract much value from AI, because we know AI drastically can, reduce expenses, reduce cost of production, reduce cost of sales when implemented. But you're going to find that the trade-off, as you were saying, the more we have a full implementation of AI, there are going to be very drastic job losses, retrenchment. Companies try to capitalize on AI. But as I have alluded, our theme is controlled disruption. We are saying we want to redesign business systems and models, but we must be deliberate and we must be careful on how we implement controlled disruption. So AI, I believe, this is my take, I believe that AI is a very good, strong tool that can be used to increase productivity, to increase a business can scale and in sustainability. But we want also to say that AI works because we feed in it.
Yeah, like.
So the trade-off is, if we are not extracting value from the talent that we have, you're going to heavily rely on AI.
And once you able to extract value from that as well.
Yes, and so the value of AI is, yes, we get it because we prompt it to perform what it is to perform. But we're going to find that we're going also to reduce also the creativity. Unless the organization, so it talks about the character and the stamina and the mindset of a leader. If your mindset is about, you see workers as robots, you see them as machines, you see them as people who don't think, you see them as people who just help you to get to your destination. You don't see them as team players. You don't value them as part and parcel of your organization. So you're going to find that some CEOs can just abruptly fire many people because to them, they have never been part of this organization. And they will never, lest the mindset has changed. So that's why you're going to see that mindset plays. In my book, Builders Who Scale, chapter 3, page 14, I talked about this mindset. Like, how can you use mindset to have a balance Because at the end of the day, some employees have been working for 10 years, working as a team. And then all of a sudden the jobs are gone. Boom.
Poor jobless. Yeah.
Poor jobless. When they go home, they've never have his or her input in the organization. Because after 10 years, Munya, you should be saying, you know what? I'm proud that I'm leaving this organization, but I did A, B, C, D, something that's tangible, even if beyond, your time.
Your time at the company.
At the company. So people want to be part and parcel. So they need the opportunity. So therefore, you need the CEO with a mindset that gives an opportunity. They see some small failures as a learning activity, as a learning opportunity. And then they embrace that. And then you're going to find that at the end of the day, we can have reduced retrenchments because AI is there. Because AI, it also works with the people.
That's cool.
So at the end of the day, that's the kind of balance I also look from CEO.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael. And that concludes our third podcast. And I hope you guys managed to grasp one or two things from our discussion. And we'll be happy to see you in our next podcast. And if you're new, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We're always looking for your comments. And with that being said, say bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for the insightful discussion on how a CEO that drives controlled disruption can set up a good mindset as well as good systems and infrastructure in their company. And to our valued listeners, thank you very much for taking the time today to listen and to comment. If you're new here, you're welcome. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on the discussion that we had today. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.